Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, poor Henry Golding. He's getting ripped a new one by everyone in the geek community. Now, Henry Golding you'll all know from Crazy Rich Asians, and that was pretty much his first film. He grew up till about 8 in Malaysia, and then he moved to Surrey in England till he was 21. Then he moved to, I always want to say Kuala Lumpur. I can't say I can never say the city right. And he had one film role before Crazy Rich Asians, so that pretty much threw him into the stratosphere. And then he ended up acting in A Simple Favor, Last Christmas, and The Gentleman, which is a little bit action orientated. And then he got somehow cast in the role of Snake Eyes. Now, there's two levels of controversy to this. The first level is that the Snake Eyes character was the most popular G.I. Joe character. Now, apparently, the character was made just out of a need to make a cheap toy by basically making an all-black toy with basic parts. And somehow it became the most popular. He never really spoke. He never took his mask off. He was mysterious. And that was sort of his thing. And he was just the most popular character. That's why he's getting his own movie. But unfortunately, the geniuses at whatever studio is doing this, I probably should have researched that, I don't know, they don't seem to know who the character is, and they've got this actor, and he seems like a really nice guy. He's gorgeous. He's very good at acting. He's good in romantic comedies. I don't know. I haven't seen him in The Gentleman, but he does not know this character. He has no idea what he's doing. He was stupid enough. I love the guy for being this stupid, but he was stupid enough to say in the media that he's training martial arts for an action role, basically, in a martial arts movie. It's not a superhero movie, at least you can make that distinction. And he was basically saying how the training was so hard, he was so sore, he couldn't even bend down or anything. And he basically was, at some point early on, and they were blowing this out of proportion a bit. Early on, I think I was crying to my manager about, what have I done? This is too much. It's too hard. And they have just latched onto it. Asian action star man cries. He's not, and there's, like I said, there's two levels of this. The first issue, which I was supposed to get into a second ago, the character, I talked about the toy. The character was written by an Asian man, and he wrote the character as a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy who didn't fit into the ninja community, basically. Wherever he was trained, he was the outsider, and that was part of his character, that he was the outsider. He wasn't just this cool, cold sort of ninja warrior. He was also this outsider within that community as well. And then for some reason, somebody said, diversity, we need more Asian actors. Why don't we have an Asian actor playing this ninja? Because, of course, all Asian people are ninjas, of course. And on some level, I'm like, well, yes, that would be good to have this Asian actor in a movie, and yes, having him play the role instead of a white man would be good. If the character was originally meant to be Asian, which often they are, and then they get whitewashed, we have a lot of characters, Asian characters, ninja characters, that sort of thing does sort of get whitewashed in Hollywood, where they start off one way and end up being whitewashed when they're brought into Hollywood. But this is not the case with this character. This character was always white, and it wasn't written by a white person, it was written by an Asian character. But yet they did it. And then, of course, who do they pick? They pick the biggest Asian star at the moment, which was Henry Golding. Not because he's actually an action star, not because he knows anything about martial arts, or would be even good in the role, but because he's the big star. So this is one of those stupid Hollywood moments where they cast someone based on just their name. That's it. And I feel bad for the guy because he didn't know who he was walking into, I don't think. He doesn't know who the character is. He doesn't know he's screwing it up so badly. He actually said, God bless him, the poor guy. He actually said, I think basically a missing element to this character was we never got to see what was under the mask. That was the whole fucking point! Oh God, he's going to fuck this up so bad, he's going to get eaten alive. And part of this is racism. Let's be real. but the rest of it is genuine stupidity on the part of the Hollywood agents and the casting agents and everyone else involved who clearly don't know who this character is. They're taking the coolest character and ruining it. And they're going to hope to try and get a franchise out of this. And there's no way they're going to have this big-ass Hollywood star who's gorgeous in this film and not use him. And I was watching, who was it? Not Nerdrotic. Clownfish TV was talking about this. And they were going on about certain possibilities. And they were sort of suggesting they're going to treat this like a romantic comedy action film where this guy's going to be romantically involved in someone. He's going to have his mask off all the time, talking all the time, being charismatic and just being that Hollywood actor and his brand, I guess, instead of the actual character. They're going to try and do it like that, and then at the end of the movie you'll basically put the mask on and become the character. And this seems to be a trope that we have in Hollywood now, where they take something, a property, a character, an IP, whatever, and they acknowledge it in the last scene of the film. It's like you spend the whole film doing something totally different, totally out of character, nothing to do with the story, like Star Trek where they're like on Earth the whole time, and then at the end they're like, we're going to go off into space and boldly go where no one's gone before. Well, we should have been doing that the whole fucking film. This is what's going to happen, and I just feel bad for him because he's going to cop all the shit. He's going to get blamed for everything. No one's going to know the name of the producer or the writer or the casting agent who fucked this up. They're just going to blame the face. And I feel bad for him because he seems really nice and he has no idea what he's doing. And everyone is just tearing him a new one. And I was going to say part of this is cultural differences because I thought he'd grown up in Malaysia and gotten the role of Crazy Rich Asians and then come to America. But he lived in Britain since he was from 8 to 21. What is that, 13 years? I think he should have worked out who G.I. Joe was and some of the things he's screwing up here he should have known. But apparently, I don't know enough about him to work this out, but I made a few assumptions and I did a bit of research. I'm like, oh no, I'm actually wrong there. Oh, okay. He had moved to Asia somewhere and got the job while he was over there, and then sort of became a breakout American sort of romantic star through the films. But he had actually lived in England, so he has some experience with Western culture. He should know better. But a lot of people screw this sort of stuff up. A lot of people get roles in films with iconic characters, and then they basically just project themselves into that part because the movie's about them. It's not a star vehicle for you. Star vehicles, you make up a character that fits the persona of an actor and you just let them go wild and the fans can just love it or hate it. You don't take an established character, put a star in that role. It's like George Clooney playing Batman. It could be that level bad. No, I don't think anything can be that level bad. Poor George. See, he's going to be the next George. He's going to be the next George. Because it's going to go... I don't know. Maybe we got this wrong. Maybe he actually doesn't want to play that character again. Doesn't want to be a persona. Doesn't want to be that character. So he's actually taking on this totally different role and he's actually going to play it the right way. Maybe that's possible, and maybe the reveal of the face is just at the end or something. Maybe we're all making assumptions. Maybe, the crying part, God, crying out of stress, crying out of grief, crying out of joy. There's lots of reasons to cry, and men do cry. And part of this is sexism as well, the idea that men shouldn't cry. And also, someone who's supposed to be in a action film certainly can't be a man that cries. That's a lot of bullshit as well. So this is pissing me off on a few levels. That's why I had to say something about this. Not that anyone listens to me anyway. To the point that I am making this video when I'm having like some skin issues and I know I look awful, but I just don't care because I feel bad enough for Henry Golding. Someone needs to say something positive and defend him. No one is, but I'm nobody, so no one's going to hear it anyway. But either way, I did it. I feel so bad for him. He's getting the shit kicked out of him. And he has no idea what he's doing and how bad he's fucking this up. I'm sure of it. But maybe they'll fix it in the edit. Maybe they'll work it out. But they could have just given him another role. They could have just had a martial arts guy do all the work and then just have him there when the mask comes off, which they would limit to a couple of things. He could come in, get paid a fortune just to be the face of that character for a few minutes, and then be focusing on another role instead of spending all this time training and filming this martial arts film where in theory he should not even be seen. He should be in the mask the whole time, kind of like The Mandalorian. And we all know Pedro walked away from the Mandalorian supposedly because he was expecting for the mask to come off at some point and to get sort of a breakout sort of role from it, where instead he's just forgotten and Gina Carano and Baby Yoda are getting all the attention. So it's kind of like the opposite of that. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I just feel bad for him. He's gorgeous and he has no idea what he's doing. And someone should have told him. He needs better friends. Someone should be telling him what the hell. Bye.